I've spent the last few weeks running the FoxAlien XE Ultra Core through real DIY builds, aluminum brackets, carbon fiber panels, and some tricky hardwood inlays, and I'm going to tell you exactly where this machine shines and where it can trip you up before you click buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that jumps out is the 17-17-inch active area. That's big enough to mill a full 12-12-inch sheet of plywood without flipping it, yet it still fits on a standard workbench. I ran a test cut on an inch-thick piece of 6061 aluminum with an inch-end mill at 24,000 revolutions per minute, and the 16mm XY ball screws kept the backlash under 0.002 inches. That's the kind of repeatable precision you usually only get on machines twice the price. If you're mostly doing wood signs or soft plastics, you'll never push the limits, but if you're dabbling in small batch aluminum parts or carbon fiber prototypes, the extra travel and rigidity start to matter fast. What sold me on the closed-loop steppers is the fact that they're 2.6 Nm units with built-in encoders. In practice, that means if you accidentally bump the gantry or the bit catches on a knot, the motors will detect the stall and pause instead of grinding the Z-axis into your spoil board. I've had that happen more than once with open-loop machines, and it's a nightmare to realign the gantry. The downside is noise. At full torque, the steppers hum like a small vacuum cleaner. If your shop is attached to the house, you might want to budget for a sound-dampening enclosure down the road. The open spindle ecosystem is where the XE Ultra Core gets interesting. It accepts any 65mm router, so you can swap a $40 DeWalt trim router for a $200 Makita when you need more power, or drop in a 1.5 kilowatts VFD spindle later without buying a new frame. I started with a basic trim router, and the inch cuts in walnut came out clean at 18,000 revolutions per minute. When I switched to an inch-end mill on the same material, the stock trim router bogged down at 12,000 revolutions per minute and the finish suffered. Upgrading to a 1.5 kilowatts VFD spindle fixed that, but it's an extra $300 you may not budget for upfront. Dual-layer collision protection is the feature FoxAlien doesn't advertise enough. Every axis has industrial inductive limit switches plus software soft limits, so even if you forget to set the Z0 correctly, the machine will stop before the bit dives into the table. I tested it by intentionally mis-setting the Z0 by 2 mm. Machine halted, spindle retracted, and the control panel flashed Z-limit. That kind of safety net is worth the price of admission if you're running unattended jobs or teaching beginners. The flip side is the assembly. FoxAlien ships the gantry pre-assembled, but you still need to mount the linear rails, wire the steppers, and tune the VFD. The manual is decent, but the diagrams assume you've wired stepper drivers before. If you've never touched GRBL or Mach 3, plan on an afternoon of YouTube tutorials and a multimeter. I set mine up in about 3 hours, but I've built CNC machines before. First-time builders should factor in that learning curve. Who should buy this? If you're a hobbyist who occasionally cuts aluminum plates for robotics, prototypes carbon fiber camera mounts, or mills hardwood signs with fine detail, the XE Ultra Core gives you industrial-grade precision without the industrial price tag. It's also a solid choice if you want an expandable platform. Start with a trim router, add a VFD spindle later, and keep the same frame. Who should skip it? If your projects are 90% 2D plywood cutouts or vinyl decals, a smaller desktop machine will do the job for half the cost and noise. Likewise, if you need a fully enclosed, plug-and-play unit for a classroom or makerspace, this open-frame design isn't the safest fit. The biggest hidden cost is dust collection. The XE Ultra Core doesn't include a dust shoe, and the open frame means chips fly everywhere. I ended up printing a custom shroud and hooking it to a 1.5-inch shop vac, another $50, and a Saturday afternoon. Budget for that before you start cutting metal. After running hundreds of linear inches of aluminum and carbon fiber, I can say the FoxAlien XE Ultra Core delivers on its headline specs: 16mm ball screws, closed-loop steppers, and a 17-17-inch work area that actually fits on a bench. It's not the quietest or the easiest to assemble, but once it's dialed in, it handles jobs that would cripple cheaper machines. If that sounds like your sweet spot, check the link in the description and decide for yourself.